desire for people to just see workflows and the different experiments that people are running and the different learnings that others have.
Tooling kind of increases our capacity in the day. We have more things we can do now because the tooling makes those kind of rote things easier.
I'm able to go through a spectrum of explorations that are so much larger than I could do in a day, and I can do it in minutes.
Agents are using tools. What does that look like and what does that mean?
Show up, try things, be curious.
I think the future is bright, but it has to be built.
I always see things that I didn't plan on seeing. I'm making micro decisions that I didn't have a grid for a year ago, and it's only because of the ability that AI gives me.
I feel like there's this binary thinking that like AI means fully automated, and it's like no, in fact, I think some of the better workflows are the ones that aren't fully automated.
The ability to effectively multitask at a really high level is one of the core skills of operating in this AI world.
No preconceived notions about how things should be done.
This is the moment in time right now to reap the rewards of being publicly curious.
What do you do with the question, what if?
Hey guys.
Hi.
What's up, Design Fam?
This is Chloe Park.
Jenny Wen.
This is Soleo, and you're listening.
And you're listening
to the Dive
Radio Show.
That worked.
We did it.
we actually did it.
You don't even know what the last 90 minutes has been like.
The last 90 minutes, I'd say the last 24 hours. Really.
Yeah, let's call it maybe 36 hours.
So hold on. Let's talk about it. What have the last 24 hours been like for you? Because you have a lot of stuff you're doing right now.
I mean, there's a lot of things going on. We're actively trying to release a new version of InFlight. So I have Fable just spinning on one window, and then we're working through all of the audio stuff for the first time. And really, at the end of the day, all of the stress, I do blame you, because we had a basic set of logistics that, I thought you were kind of taking care of, but you stayed up all night working on making AI videos.
So what's actually funny is I have never used an AI video tool before, and I used Kling on that intro we just saw last night. And I didn't test the timer, and I completely covered the entire interesting part of that video with the countdown timer. So yeah. W for me. On top of that, Fonz has been helping us with some of the refresh that we kind of want to show and get some opinions on. And that poor guy, he started on Monday, and we're like, hey, we need this by Thursday. And our feedback was pretty thorough.
I took a screenshot of something that he's just writing notes in all these Figma files, and we'll show it because it's kind of fun. But it's just iconography inspired by deep sea creatures sticking to the side of a ship. So if you think your client briefs are annoying, you have no idea what he has been through the last 72 hours.
Yeah. Poor Fonz, who's also just an absolute pro.
I
do want to call out, if you're joining us, this is obviously the first live stream of Dive Radio, and very bumpy, and you're going to be along for the ride as we kind of evolve this thing over the course of time. So thanks for bearing with us. Throw tomatoes. Yeah. We like them.
It was tempting. It was tempting to push back a week and just get all of the ducks in a row. But then we kind of thought about what would be fun. And so this is almost going to turn into a behind the scenes pilot where you can see we have a bunch figured out. We're going to try some stuff, but also so much is in progress, and we're actually having a blast working on it and thinking about it. And so we're kind of just going to pull back the curtain and show a little bit about what's happening behind the stream as well.
And before we do that, I'm curious to hear from you. I know why this live show is really interesting to me, but why is this an interesting thing to you? You've already got Dive Club, the podcast.
I don't actually need a lot of logic behind it. I really follow what brings me life, and it's easy for me to identify what that is. And I've only done a few live things. I've done stuff with Kyle Xantos, who I think is in here. I've done stuff with James McDonald before. Every single time I just jump on a live stream and hit record, I walk out super energized. And I used to do a lot of teaching too. I would do Figma training stuff. And so I think maybe there's a part of me that just likes this. And you don't get it in the same way with the recording and having things be more polished. And I don't know, brings me life.
What do you want it to be?
Maybe I just want to talk more. Maybe that's really the subconscious answer. I'm just like, I can actually just have like a 50-50 back and forth. But I think there's so much to talk about at all times. And it's not even like just news cycles, right? Like the rate of change in tech and definitely design is so fast and accelerating rapidly that it's hard to actually keep up with that in a productized podcast, right?
Yeah.
And so to just be able to look at cool things together, process it, riff, like just have a sounding board. I'm thinking about all types of ideas, even as I'm doing the interviews, which I'm sure that you are doing too. And so creating a space to kind of almost digest publicly, I hope that that's going to be really valuable, not only for people listening, but also for us too.
I heard Anthony Bourdain, a clip of him a while back.
Yo, Tommy, bump your audio. Get that mic a little bit closer. We have a couple people saying this is, you're a little bit soft.
Hello. Yeah, there's a clip of Anthony Bourdain, and he talks about just how, people who have the guts to be curious. And I was like, that line like stuck with me. And I feel like we're in that phase right now. I love talking to everybody who's going through different layers of everything that's changing. But I really want a place where I can kind of escape and hang out with all the designers who have the guts to be curious, who are kind of exploring this crazy world. And it was funny. We were talking about like, we should show workflows and these things that we're using in the work we're doing. And you said something I really liked, which was, but let's not call them workflows. I think it's better to call them ideas. And I think that's smart because like we don't have prescriptions. Like here's just like, I could walk you through the wild process that I went through to create that intro or that radio of Dive.radio. And it feels pretty good. There are things I'd do differently. I don't think I'm ready to prescribe a workflow to it, but there's definitely some ideas of ways that I would repeat that and things I'd do different. And I feel like there's a lot of that missing in the noise. There's a lot of hype. There's a lot of people making big claims. I kind of just want to see how people are messing around. And that's hopefully what a little bit of this show is.
Yeah, even just creating space to show how we are messing around too. Yeah. It's like if you put something in a YouTube, there's like a permanency to the podcast, right? But if you try to make content that is up to date, it's like the opposite of evergreen. It becomes out of date in like 90 days tops, Yeah. But I'm constantly tinkering and trying things and like looking at other tweets. Honestly, like I come up with so many tweets, bookmark things. Like, oh my gosh, I have to try that. Try it. Okay, how did it work? Cool. Like, does this become a space to share that kind of stuff? Maybe we'll see.
You feel like this new Twitter update, that X algo, where you can now see all the people you follow, is that useful to you?
Unbelievable.
Yeah. You think it's going to stick around? You think that's going to create just like?
Yeah. I saw so many people say that they were planning on leaving, but then decided to stay because of it.
That's interesting.
My only question is, what the hell were they waiting for?
Yeah.
Like what? You're telling me this was a switch? You could just flip the switch? Unbelievable.
Yeah. I want to say hi to everyone who's jumping in here, guys. Josh, I see you. I see Josh Puckett on Contrad. What's up, guys? I say Janelle. Yes, dude. Jeremy, Eric, good to see you. Chris doing some crazy magic at the Detach party, by the way. If you came to Detach this year, awesome. our party we threw at Config, that was a pretty good time. And what that taught me, and that was our third year throwing it, but what it really showed me is I want to do so many more IRL things, small events, big events, parties, hikes, chats. I want to do one of these shows in real life. I think that would be really cool.
I'm down, man. Let's do it. First, we have to figure out what the show is, but then, we'll do it live.
And it's my hope that this show every Thursday, about 90 minutes, becomes a staple. You know what? Dive Radio, I liked this name because a drive home from work way back in the day, and like there was a couple select radio programs that would come on in like the late afternoon time. And they'd always have like segments and they were really cool. And I'd love to evolve that into this. One of the things that I really want to do, because we already do interviews with people. We don't want a show and we're still doing more interviews with industry folks. Like you can catch that elsewhere. I want to talk to the community here. We're going to do call-ins. Admittedly, with the delay we had today, it was trying to solve the call-in. We're very close. We don't have the call-in solved today. We will have call-ins solved by next week. So bear with us. But it doesn't mean we can't answer questions in chat. I'm looking at it here, guys. Remote work, IRL party. What's up, Kyle? Good to see you, man. And Kyle Shepard, too. Did we turn off the chat? We did not turn off the chat. And I would say this, too. We're streaming to both of our YouTube channels, both of our X channels. So we see everything that's coming through, but you might not see some of the community. I would probably recommend, if you want to jam with each other, too, go to the Dive Club YouTube stream. There's probably a pretty good group in there.
Yeah.
Dude, it's been about a week and change since I think we've been able to compare Fable 5 and GPT 5.6, and there's already rumors of like Opus 5 right around the corner and all these things. And by the way, we are going to talk a lot about AI. How can you not? How can you not right now? There's so many things to talk about with it. What's your daily driver, man? How are you feeling?
It was funny with all the Fable stuff came out, and I blitzed through my credits twice.
Yeah.
So I think there's actually like a new skill to figure out how to be more token efficient. And I've built like delegate skills where I can like have Fable spawn sub agents and report back. Like that's working pretty well. I have had multiple times where I've just been in a loop and I can't solve something, but I'm still using like, I like Claude. I've been using 4.8 Opus as my daily driver. I've started doing more GPT Soul.
You're using 4.8 as a daily driver?
It's been my daily driver for so long, and now I'm like actively going like 50-50 between that and GPT. Like it's very clear. I think that 5.6 is, I probably should just make a shift to do that. I pit them against each other right now. Yeah. This is kind of what I've been doing a lot of. What about you?
Well, I mean, it's hard because I'll say this, 5.6 seems to be, I really like it. It's obviously very efficient. Like I feel like I'm just not hitting my limits and I'm blowing through them on Fable.
Yeah. Same.
I feel like I feel like I'm on like mushroom trips with Fable. Like all of a sudden it'll give me some insight and I'm like, whoa, that's really interesting. Whereas 5.6 feels like I'm working with an extremely competent engineer.
Yeah, I think that's super well said.
You know what I mean? Like one is like, yeah. I go to the village noble and the other's like, this is the engineer in the room. But I will say
I've started having more open-ended brainstorming because I'm having so much success thinking through more meaty challenges with Fable. Like really open-ended. Let's just talk.
Do you orchestrate with Fable and then get like do the grinding work with 5.6? That's a workflow that I've seen a lot of people do that I've been doing lately.
Yeah, I have been doing that. I've actually also just been leaving it up to Fable too about what it wants to spawn. But I don't know. I find myself chatting with Fable more. Like I'm having more brainstormy back and forth than I was before because I feel like the output from Fable is so good. Like it's so good.
I want to hear from chat what you guys are rocking with as your daily driver. Where's your preference at? Have you had any of your code bases deleted? Have you seen this?
Yeah, I did.
Like
you feel for those people, man.
At first I thought it was a joke. They're like, oh, it deleted all my root files. And then they're like, no, it deleted my whole project. And then I saw OpenAI say, we're looking into this. And I thought, well, that's kind of a weird thing to suddenly be popping up as a recurring issue. I don't know how recurring it is, or if I saw one tweet and then I saw all the tweets around it. But I thought that was kind of interesting that was happening. You saw Grok getting a lot of, I guess they were uploading code bases, and then they decided to turn it off in some weird way. So a lot of interesting stuff, getting more and more compelling to try and get local models working. I installed a local model a week ago.
How's that going? There's your answer.
I've got a Mac Mini. Yeah, I'm not in love with it yet, but it's like I could see it because listen, like the frontier models are still just like they're just on a different level. You know what I mean? And I want to believe in local, and there are estimates that local models are going to be at like the 4.8 level within the next 6 months. Who knows? Eventually, though, it will be extremely compelling, and I'm worried so I do a bunch of like video stuff, and so I've got like 20 terabytes of footage that I have to store, and I'm realizing whether it's buying a server for storage there or buying like compute locally, we're gonna need to build some stuff there. Like the Mac Minis are already they're already either out of stock or they're extremely higher priced than they were. I want to just build a rig and just be ready to install the local models when they're actually worth using.
I've had a Mac Mini sitting unopened on my desk for like 4 months.
Yeah.
Because my co-founder Kyle just sent it to me like in the middle of all the OpenClaw buzz. And I don't know, man. I just didn't want to dig in. It just felt like a lot. But I just set it up this last weekend. I'm like, I have the base foundation. I'm like, okay, now what? I think a lot of it is kind of preparing for local, though.
You're going to learn the UX challenge. There's like a weird challenge here that now when you're connected, you're connected to multiple devices. You're on your primary device, and then you're screen sharing into your Mac Mini, and you're using the apps in there too. And it creates this like, and apparently like there are people who have multiple Mac Minis, so they're having to do this. And I'm like, what a weird
It's weird
challenge. It creates this weird UX thing that like we need to solve somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, I use CleanShot all the time, and so I can seamlessly move my mouse between my laptop and then my monitor, which is now doing the Mac Mini. But like the screenshotting is a different UX on both of them. It's so trippy, man. Like it took me a second to even just orient myself. I think I mostly hated it, but I believe in the importance of it in the long run. So I'm just like forcing myself to go through all of the logistics of getting it set up.
So I'm curious if there's anything that's caught your eye in the last week or so. For me, I've been messing around, and I know like you use Super Whisper. What voice UI do you use?
Yeah,
Super Whisper.
I use Super Whisper.
I do too. I use it for everything like productivity related. And GPT Live came out, and so I've been messing around with that. And I like it. Like it's fast, it moves. It's only at 5.5, but so I'm not using it for work related things, but I had it help me in the kitchen, and I was cooking stuff. And it was funny. I had this moment where I'm just like yapping with it, and it's joking with me. We're going back and forth. I'm like, oh, this feels like the movie Her. Because it's like we're jamming. And I make this like wonderful sandwich, breakfast sandwich that we put together. And so I have Alexa set up over here, and while I'm talking to it, I turn to Alexa and I go, hey Alexa, set a timer for 5 minutes. And then the thing's like, no, you need to set it for 10 minutes, but at 5 minutes. And I'm like, Alexa, actually change that to 10 minutes. And Alexa just bricked. Like that task was just not feasible. And I was like, darn it, I forgot. You're dumb robot. And so I had to like, reverse the steps. But what it made me realize is the UI, the voice UI, I really, really like. I'm still going to use Canvas, and there's still going to be a need for screens. I think there's a world not far from now where voice UI is actually my primary interface for most technology. I think we're so close to it. And now OpenAI is talking about their first hardware release, that speaker voice puck. And do you know when they said that they're thinking about releasing that?
I didn't see a date. I'm not sure if there was one.
I'm gonna look this up real quick.
It's so okay. It's just like a quick sidebar too. Like if anybody here has not just played with the new voice mode in GPT, it's so worth 10 minutes of your time. Like it really is trippy. It's super cool. I was last night, so we're having all these back and forths on just the million things that we're trying to figure out to make this happen. And I got to pick my mother-in-law up from TJ Maxx, 9:30 p.m. Man, high on the top of the totem pole of things to do. And I'm sitting in the parking lot waiting for her, and I got GPT going, and I'm just talking to it, and it's shockingly good. It's right away you're like, okay, it's a little bit trippy, but I'm generating images to mood board the thing that we talked about, where like maybe the final segment is the phone on the bottom of the ocean floor, and people can call in. And so I'm playing with that, and I'm playing with like black photography stuff as well. And I'm just talking with GPT, and then you can like swipe down and review the images. So it like really felt like a creative director,
What do you
right?
mean?
Like I'm having a conversation
The images.
in voice mode, and I did it intuitively. Like it just felt like, I should be able to pull this down. Pulled it down, and it actually closes that window and you're back in your chat. So you can scroll up through your chat history while you're talking.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
yeah.
But my chat history is all images. So I'm like reviewing imagery and having a verbal critique session about this concept that I'm making in voice mode on my phone in a TJ Maxx parking lot. Like, damn, this is the future. It was awesome.
Yeah. And I've been using it for other like super unproductive things. I play a lot of Dota 2, which is like a 4D chess computer game. And so like I wanted coaching. And so I have it live and I'm talking to it while I'm talking to my teammates, playing this like super complex game with all these different variables you have to manage. And it's giving me all these tips and it's coaching me through this whole thing. And I recorded that session and then I recorded, and it was funny. I've been playing this game for a decade plus. And it made a recommendation and I was like, no, like that's wrong. And it was a very like nuanced recommendation. And it was like, just trust me, do this. You're going to need it for this thing. And then 5 minutes later, I did it for the thing it mentioned. My teammates go, that was one of the big, that you probably just won us the game because of that Lotus move. And I was like, that's crazy. That's pretty cool. It was just like a cool little moment to show that this is happening. You see these talk socks? Have you seen these?
No. What?
Bro, this made me think of you. And I want to show, it made me think of you because I know that you're walking around the house doing this.
Oh yeah.
You've seen these? This is ridiculous,
can't be real.
by the way. This is there's a real prototype of it somewhere. Like this is a thing that people are actually using. You wouldn't use this?
No, no, it makes me physically uncomfortable to look at that thumbnail.
Wait, how much is this? $2.99.
What a steal.
$2.99. By the way, my sound not working on this one. I thought we solved this. Did we not? That sounds about right. Sounds about par for the course here. That's okay. We'll get there. Yeah, these noise canceling masks. This is ridiculous, dude. Do you feel rude when you are talking to your AI? Do you try to like sneak away out of earshot?
Yeah, I didn't realize this until I was working in person out of South Park Commons. I was in their SF offices. And I didn't realize how much I was talking to AI until that week. And I was like, I feel so uncomfortable. I didn't have one of the little like, whisper mics kind of thing. But I don't know. I found myself just like sneaking into closets in order to like talk with AI. I don't know. I don't feel rude, but I feel self-conscious. I'm also the kind of person that would like never answer a phone call in an airplane. That just gives me anxiety just thinking about that idea.
Are there moments you prefer to type versus talk? I'll sometimes not do a task because I'll be doing 3 other tasks and it's like, oh, I have to type that one out. Like I'm not going to do that right now then because for some reason I can't. Like if I'm not at my phone and I'm at my computer, I don't even like to have to like, oh, I got to open Super Whisper. I'm always on my phone yapping. You know this.
Well, we were debugging this even before, like in the 30 minutes, we were like working through all these different audio issues and it's just us talking with AI, both trying to solve our own issues. It's a weird little glimpse into the future. Thankfully, we don't have talk socks though, because that feels like a Black Mirror episode that I don't like.
Yeah, that does. And actually, I want to call out Brad just said, I don't want people to see how dumb my prompts are.
Yeah, exactly.
How dumb are your prompts?
I contradict myself in the middle of the prompts all the time. I'm like, do this, do this, do this. Actually, wait. No, don't do that. Let's do this instead. I'm like, I just hit send on that all the time.
I love working with AI because I have the freedom to not find the right words and to be super verbose and to just sound like a complete moron. And then I'm like, oh, we're going to go live and show people how we do our things. I'm like, oh no, that's terrifying. I misspell almost every word. It's a mess. Yeah. I feel you, Brad. I feel you. Are you a car guy by chance? Is this your lane?
Depends on what you mean by car guy. Because when I hear car guy, I think like appreciation of the decades and an understanding of how anything in an engine works, which I am not. Am I
you,
interested in some of the more like futuristic concepts that remove me from a driver's seat? Yes. So I think that makes me not a car guy, probably.
Are you rocking the chip?
I saw this. I love this.
What do you love about this?
It looks on something that is carrying around. It's like moving me around my vacation resort. This is what I mean by being a car guy. It's like, I think this is kind of fun, but I wouldn't drive a Charger or anything that made noise, you know?
Is this like a road legal? This is a road legal car, I'm assuming, right? Yeah, yeah.
I
It
was
looks
assuming
like a
so. Yeah.
It looks like a golf cart hybrid meets.
Yeah.
Like
There was
there's a
another one of the
governor-
golf
is there a
carts that
governor on
went
it?
super viral like 10 days ago too. It's like, it feels
Yeah.
like, I don't know, but the fact that we have all of these new, I don't know what this one cost. The other one was like 20 grand, dude, for a golf cart. But the fact that like people obviously believe in this, like they believe in this as being an important method of transportation in the future, which I think is odd. It's not something I saw coming.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I saw this was interesting. The Tinder rebrand. What do you think of this?
I sent it to my co-founder Kyle, who was one of the first
Yeah.
designers at Tinder.
Are you allowed to share his thoughts?
Man, I should have pulled it up. I think he just laughed at it, basically.
I can see the mood they're going for here. Big mood board fan, by the way. But on an island, I don't. It's yeah. I don't know.
It's not bad. It just doesn't do anything for me. It's fine.
This is like the thing that we were talking with Fonz about. Fonz is an absolute pro. We've both worked with him on other projects. Like he's one of the top 3 people I recommend every single time
Same.
someone asks me for his skill set. And he gave us a bunch of like quick mood variations in like 6 hours, and they're beautiful, right? And I think some of the feedback was like, these could fit in a lot of different contexts, different startups. And I think your feedback was, I want something that if it was put on any other startup's website, it would look absolutely absurd. Like, what is?
I used the word foolish. I said I wanted it to be
Yeah.
foolish. If any
Yeah.
SaaS like ingested our design MD file and used it, it should feel foolish. They
And-
should
and
get
so, like,
angry letters from their investors.
You got some angry letters recently. I when I look at the Tinder rebrand, I feel like I could probably like interplay this across a
Yeah.
lot of different contexts.
Yeah, that's the next hot HR startup.
The the next like data docs.
Yeah,
Let's go. Speaking of hot startups, I don't even know. Can we call Cursor a startup anymore, dude? Like,
yeah. How do you even define startup? It certainly can't be by valuation or size anymore.
Mamuso here? Manuel?
Of him, not. I don't know. I haven't met him. No.
I met him. I met him when I went and filmed with Vercel.
Oh yeah, you did the on-site.
Beautiful human being, just a wonderful person. I was like kind of shattered. I was like, there's no way. Like he left Vercel at some point in the recent past, and just found out he's at Cursor. And then we found out in like almost the same 24-hour period that Jenny Wen left Anthropic.
Like 6-hour period, dude.
Went to Cursor. She went to Cursor as a head of design, by the way. And
Yeah.
it sounded like I immediately bopped over to Riolu's Twitter and I was like, what's going on here? And it sounds like he's like, now I get to just build.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like he like really wanted to lean into just like,
It sounds perfect.
yeah.
Dude, I get it. Like, imagine be head of design and you're scaling that quickly. Like, that's a set of design challenges that are like operational and organizational. They sound horrible, to be honest. They sound horrible. To wake up every day and have that on my plate sounds tough. I'm happy for him. It sounds perfect for both Rio and Jenny. Like, what a huge deal to get brought in like that as Jenny. It's amazing. They're a talent magnet, man. And can we just talk about the fact that I can't, timelines are insane. We're all aging in dog years, but like it felt maybe, I don't know, 6 to 8 months ago that Cursor was just like, just life support from enterprise contracts. And now it is as cool as it gets, dude. Everybody I'm talking to is switching back to Cursor if they're not already on it. They're attracting the most elite talent in the industry. Crazy comeback arc.
Now, you're not a Cursor user, right?
I'm not. I'm still team Conductor.
Cursor's a big tool in our household. My teens love Cursor. It's really like it's a really accessible product for them.
Yeah.
And I think there were claims, and I'm not validating this, but that like at least at one point you were getting more tokens out of like your Fable 5 usage at one point. I don't know if that's true or not.
I didn't know that.
But they certainly were my teens just like grinding on it. I like Cursor. I like Cursor a lot as a product. It's clear they're attracting a lot of talent. I think the SpaceX acquisition is really compelling. Curious to see kind of where this.
It sounds like they're taking incredibly big swings too, like coming at GitHub. They said that that's going to be like a fall thing. I don't know, it feels like every major player right now is building the same thing, but the same thing is just everything, end to end, full stack, every possible thing that you would need. And then so in a world where Cursor is an actual alternative to GitHub, it's agent orchestration, it's everything that you would need in an IDE. They're probably bringing in more review functionality. All these tools have started showing the PR natively inside of the tool. Like you could just do every single step of the process in Cursor. And in that world, man, they're going to have a lot. I mean, it's just going to be a magnet, you know, it's going to be hard to leave.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very interested. I think the days of focused products are, I don't want to say they're over, but it is interesting and noteworthy to see companies like Midjourney is now also a health company. Okay.
Yeah,
and like Cursor is going to be, psychiatry. I don't know. Like what else is Cursor going to do? Because I think I heard someone talking about how with Cursor, there was an initial reaction in the earlier days when what was their name? It was Anysphere or something.
Yeah,
and,
something like that.
And people were like, what are you trying to replace VS Code for? Like, there's no way you're going to do that. VS Code is the tried and true. And now it's like, who in here is using, I was a VS Code user. Is there anyone here using VS Code? You can install AI plugins in Claude, and they've got a great ecosystem. Rid, I know you're not using VS Code.
I think the design community is going to shame anybody who says that they're using VS Code right now in the chat. I'm just going to throw that out there.
It's kind of interesting to see. It's interesting to see that the big swings becoming the default. But it's got to be hard, man. I do not envy you. I don't envy Cursor. I don't envy anybody building software tools right now. I get a lot of FOMO talking to the people who are doing it. And then like I talk to people offline and they're like, it is harder than ever.
Dude, it's freaking hard, man. It's freaking hard because it just feels like everybody's, like I said, like everybody's building everything. Everything's so copyable, right? Like tech has always bundled and unbundled. That's like since the dawn of time. It's been the cycle that we've in. And this is just the greatest bundling in history because the marginal cost of every new feature is like nothing. It's nothing.
Yeah.
You know, I've prototyped so many versions of all of these features that all of these tools are building. It's easy, man. Like anybody in this list can one shot all of the like visual inspect or agentation style tools that are now table stakes in all of these products. So it's like, of course, all the best features and all the best UX approaches get copied in like hours, not weeks.
Yeah. Liz, good to see you. Yeah. That's my understanding early on too. A fork of VS Code. And so like open source, you know, what has been your take on open source? Have you ever dabbled in open source? Do you have any like inclination to go in that direction with where software is going?
I was thinking about it a little bit more recently because have you ever heard of Reflect notes? Maybe some people here use that. That's what I've used for notes for a while, but then there was this shift where I wanted everything to be local, you know, and I wanted to be able to change things. And so I actually like built my own note-taking environment because I didn't like Obsidian. So I was just reskin it my way. And I left Reflect, even though I liked the product, because it wasn't open source. And then sure enough, like 6 months later, I think actually 2 days ago, they just released the like Reflect Open that I've already started on. And I don't know. I feel like in some there are certain types of tools where that is a requirement, actually. It's a requirement. You have to, it has to be extensible.
What do you think makes it like, okay, so for example, Grok build just open sourced. the harness for their coding. Did you see this? That was
I
yesterday,
didn't.
day before.
No. God,
And
so
I thought
many-
that
so
was
much news.
it's like how do we get through it? And that's why we're going to talk a little bit about it before we get into the build fun stuff. And so okay, so Elon, so SpaceX, they're just like, okay, Grok, we're going to open source the coding harness around Grok so that anyone here can just build on top of it. What do you think? What's the decision around that? What pushes a product to say it is beneficial for us to open source? Like what would make the math make sense where you go, actually in-flight should be open source?
Man, I don't know.
I'm gonna ask all the hard questions.
Just throw it in the bucket of insane strategic decisions that I didn't anticipate having to be faced with. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah. Well, not problems I have to solve because I'm in
Yeah.
the middle of trying to make money making media, which is also its own thing. Very, very hard. Can't open source media. Well, I don't know. Could you? Could you open source media? Open source my voice, create an 11 Labs.
I was about to say, you could totally just license your voice, man.
Could I though? Like licensing a voice sounds so, it's starting to feel antiquated. Like, do you need to license a voice? I'll just go to 11 Labs. There's better voices than mine, man. I was listening, I follow a lot of like voiceover artists and voice actors. And there's just such differences to people who are really pros. Like they act it out and they make faces and they're just very good at delivery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I do want to talk a little bit about something that's cooled off a bit since last week. And I gave a take on this. I think we talked briefly about it. But, you know, I haven't had a chance to like vent about this, and I do want to. And so I want to hear your take, and I want to do a little bit of moaning about Gal Shear, who, by the way, the most latest and greatest from Gal Shear is painting. Gal is painting.
It looked good too. It looked good.
Yeah, I love this. I wonder how he films this. By the way, like he always has these like overhead. It looks like he's just holding the phone, maybe.
I think you're showing the cursor tab.
Oh, I sure am. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
There we go. That's not the right one. There we go. I love this. So this is what Gal's up to. The other shoe dropped, and it turns out he was announcing that he is making art. And I love that because everyone was so cynical about this take. I want to say something about this. We're going to get into this. We're going to touch on it briefly. We'll move on. But I do want to say something because it really ticked me off. This is why Gal earned hundreds of thousands of followers on X. It wasn't to engagement farm people. I haven't followed him through his whole journey, but I'm fairly certain he saw some explosive growth after he shared that visual of Headroom, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's find that real quick. Yeah.
It was one of the best brand release videos I've ever seen.
Like genuinely, this was, and so in film we call this a match cut, where you keep a central object in the focus and the composition around it is changing. And he goes even further and extends that concept, and he's great at it. It's like, so he comes out and he's announcing, hey, I'm retiring. I had a client who basically used AI and AI beat me. Where is that post? Is it sticky? It must be. You know, and I just want to call something out. I do understand that there were people who read this and immediately felt like this was an affront to all the things that they've invested into and believe in. But Gal never said design is dead. He might have insinuated parts of that, but didn't say that. And he certainly never said, you, designer, should quit because AI is going to beat you. Those things were never said. He said, I'm retiring because this experience with AI. And he got dogpiled by the design community for this take. I mean, and even adjacent, you had VCs, you had the All In crew talking about this. You had Dylan Field comment about this. It made the rounds. I know everyone in this room has already seen this talked about, and I just thought that was really interesting, that this is such a hot topic that AI can do some work that, you know, people are going to come at someone like Gal, who I think is His logo marks are good, but it's his packaging and the motion graphics that I think he's extremely spiky in. And if anyone challenges that, I think I don't agree with that. What are your thoughts on this?
I think you kind of got to look at it from the output that was produced by whatever the situation was, and then also like the inputs that were given to the model. Because I don't know if you saw, there was this article that went viral. It was career advice in the age of AI. If you didn't read it, I'll just spoil it in 2 lines because I actually thought it was really great. And he talked about the fact that the models are getting really good at executing against well-defined problems. And for sure that's in code. And honestly, in design, it's kind of the case too. Like I haven't told anybody this. Hopefully the people from my team are not here, but like I had Fable ideate and generate some mock-ups about this feature set that I'm working on and like visual editing of a PR kind of thing. And they're pretty good, you know, like I made like maybe a couple tweaks, but they're pretty good. And I was showing the concept on Zoom screen sharing. This was on Monday. And my co-founder was just like, damn, like you crushed it on that. Like that looks crisp, you know, it's some of your better work. And I'm like gutted because dude, it was mostly Fable. It's mostly Fable. That feels uncomfortable. And I think that is probably a lot of what Gal was talking about, where it's like, given a thing that you want to accomplish, what is the output? Like AI's getting good at it, right? It's getting good at it.
Yeah.
Now, the article, what I liked was basically the TLDR was don't be a problem solver, which is what we've defined ourselves as designers for so long. You know, execute against this problem, solve the problem, you know, be a problem finder instead. And that's where the alpha is. If you can find problems and set AI set AI up for success to like help you nail it down and create something worth sharing, that's where the opportunity is, which is why I then go back to the Gal thing where I'm like, what was like, is there a chance that maybe the founder themselves was just actually had pretty good ideas, you know, had some kind of novel insight and like, given that, yeah, I mean, when the output that you're paying for is pixels and motion and colors, all of that can be trained. That's tough, you know?
So I had this thought, and the thinking was that one of 2 things. It was either Gal was, in fact, farming for engagement, was going to release a tool. He's released tools before, has a color tool in the past. Not really his style. So I was like, that'd be interesting. And I don't know that it would be very effective because he was in the comments like assuring people that wasn't going to be the case. And then the other thought was like, maybe a client did go and farm all of his match cut motion graphics, fed it to Fable 5, and you know, maybe still had someone create a logo mark and like showed him like, look what you can do. I can do your spiky thing without you. And maybe he was like, okay, I'm flipping the table, I'm done. So I tried. So I went, and I'm not releasing this, but I went and pulled his work. And I was like, Fable, go look at this. And would you be able to create a Galshare skill that would take my UX Tools logo mark and build it into this brand presentation? And I'm going to show you what that looked like. I have to pull it up. Give me just a second here.
I'm so glad that you did this.
I want to ask you, how do you think it did? Let me share this.
We're using like Remotion. Is that what you're using?
Remotion. So Claude Fable 5 on Max and Remotion were the 2 things that I made use of there.
I think it's going to be cool. I think it's going to look good. I don't think it's going to be that close to your bar for actually putting your name behind something that you would share out in the world. I think it'll mostly just be like interesting as a hobby I don't think it will be bad though.
So there is some sound to these. We were having some sound issues outside of Arc, so you're not going to see that. But I basically said, hey, we've got some motion graphics. I got a brand. Here are a bunch of posts of Gals from his videos. I want you to analyze these videos. And then I attached it, my SVG of the UX Tools brand mark. Again, the goal here is not to release any sort of skill. I'm not going to do that here. But I do want to see if it is able to do this. And so it went in, and that's not the one that I want to see. Let's pull up. Oh, that's interesting that the sheet. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah. I want you to actually see here how it parsed the parts of Gal's projects. So this is showing a lot of mine. Let's see. So first it built the skill, did the markdown, and then I said, okay, we also need to feed you some brand guidelines so you know how to incorporate these into the ideas that you come up with. I did not give it any sort of composition direction. This was not a one shot, but pretty close to that idea. I really want you to see, not my examples. I want you to see how it broke down his videos, but we may have to forego that part of it if I can't figure that out. Artifacts? No. Okay. Well, let's look at this. All right. Here was version 1. All right. Let's see how this did. All right. You know, so absolutely.
So that was interesting. That last part was interesting, actually.
Mostly ass, right? Mostly ass. With
It's mostly ass, but it also makes me realize that, like, dude, sound design is everything. Like, if it had a baller soundtrack, you probably would have been like, all right, that's pretty cool.
What you can't hear was there's actually quite a bit of little boop, 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 boop sounds happening inside of this. So I was like, okay, maybe we got some stuff wrong. Maybe I can like pull a couple levers. And so that's what I did. I said, hey, let's get a little bit closer to a few things. There's some stuff here that I'm not really vibing with. And I think this might be V2. Very similar.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I get it. Like we're going down this, let's change paths. Let's go a different direction because I'm not feeling that. I appreciate that it's pulling in some of the brand guidelines. Yeah, the sounds came through okay. Oh, interesting. Oh, it must be my microphone.
I think they're coming through your mic.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
They're
we
pretty
went a
soft.
different direction, right? Still same brand guidelines, but like let's think about.
Oh.
You know, like the.
It's making me feel better.
And
yeah. What's that alignment?
Yeah. And it's really interesting because I had someone that we'll look at in a bit here talk about how you know we're not going to be farmers just yet with a lot of this stuff. but you know, like the one thing that this did point out to me, and I think this might be like one last iteration we'll take a quick peek at here. So there's like some particling happening, and it really likes this wavelength thing.
Yeah.
Like
it's just been getting progressively corny through each iteration.
Yeah, you know, it's like really trying to push the envelope, but it's just not good.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that I find a lot of use with AI right now. I mean, there's a number of use cases, but one of my favorite ways, I love the way that you were communicating with Fonz. You created a grid, and we'll show this stuff in a bit here. And you're like, first and foremost, here's what I don't want. And I love starting with what you don't want. And sometimes like you're not entirely sure what you don't want. And if you need some help figuring that out, ask AI to put something together for you. And I think that'll really help you in the kind of, in the same vein of mood boarding, right? Mood boarding is a great way for me, and I'll show how I mood board a bit later, to identify, hey, here's the vibe and the things that I want. But I really like AI because it enlightens me on the things that I certainly don't want. So I don't think this was.
And it was interesting the amount of this, like the percentage of things that I didn't want that I was sharing that were generated by AI. It's interesting too.
Yeah.
Like this was the first time that I had went through a branding process where I'm super comfortable just using like GPT image and like on Cosmos and like feeding AI, like, okay, let's make it like this, more like this. Having AI create mood boards for me it was my first time going through this process, and I do, just because we were designers, like these tools allowed for a slightly more participatory branding process. Maybe that drove Fonz crazy. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it was interesting to see like the impact of you mood boarding, for instance.
We'll have to ask. Yeah, because I felt like the mood. Actually felt. I really enjoyed my mood boards. I felt like I worried that it was maybe derailing a trajectory he was trying to go on. And so we'll have to interview Fonz one day. Hey, what's it like to take feedback from us? And he's like, oh, it was awful. But I did get some, I did ask some of the industry what their thoughts were on some of this stuff. And we'll see if the sound's working on this. It may not be, but we'll give it a quick go. Is this coming through?
I woke up, saw Gal's tweet, and much like everybody else, was really sort of waiting for the punchline that never came. And I think one of the reasons why this tweet went as viral as it did was because, if you do buy into the doom and gloom vision of AI and how it affects the industry, which many people do, you'd really expect Gal to be one of the last people to hold the line and wave the white flag. And so to me, the whole thing seemed confusing, off, really out of pocket, and very premature, if nothing else. I like to think maybe Gal's giving AI a little bit too much credit. This is pure speculation, but part of me thinks that it may be less about AI sort of ending a career and more about it's sort of accelerating a decision that has already been in the works for quite some time, with Gal leaving sort of the design industry as we know it. I don't know Gal personally, but we have had interactions recently where we, did agree to build a viral branding agency together, and we put that out there, and we got about as good of a reaction as you could possibly get from folks and companies wanting to work with us. And so it's hard for me to believe those opportunities just, went poof overnight.
I think that hit it. Like for me, Gal is in that upper echelon of creativity and talent. And so I think that's why it went viral, was because it came from somebody who were like, yeah, if anybody is invincible against these models, it's Gal.
Did I just hear Brett say that him and Gal were going to start an agency together?
It's news to me. Yeah.
That would have been wild.
Yeah.
I had no idea that was a thing that almost manifested itself. Okay.
Yeah, it would have been cool.
Yeah. So interesting stuff. Gal looks happy doing this, and I think it's important because there's something that's hit me recently, and I'll say this: I've read multiple takes from people. Did you see this? Kits, right? Are you familiar with Kits?
Maybe.
Here, I'll show you Kits. Here, let's do this. Right.
Oh yeah. Man, it's
Yeah.
the power of a Twitter avatar. I'm like, I have no idea who this person is.
Right,
Name. I
right.
see the image and I'm like, oh yeah, him. I can name his feed.
I had people doing that at Detached. They're like, "Hey, I'm so and so." I'm like, "Oh, nice to meet you." And they're like, "No, I'm so." And they'd show me, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, what's up, dude?"
Yep.
And I thought that was funny. He tweets so much. Like this felt like it was just last week, and already I've got to like dig into where this was. So what I'll say about Kits, whether or not I can find the post he made, was he made a video at one point, and I want to say it was the beginning of last week, and he was just talking, and it was like 4 a.m. And it was funny because I had just been up all night working on the Dive Radio little website, right? And he's like, I can't stop cooking. I've been working, and it's like I just constantly new prompt and this, and we've heard this, like people are just feeling like they have to work. Hunter, he told me like there's this weird thing now with token limits that you feel like you're in your window, and now it's a new type of FOMO. If you're not utilizing your limits, then like you feel like you're gonna miss out. You need to be building with it, and it's creating this anxiety. And so I see Kits talk about, I can't stop cooking. And then the next day I see a post from someone else who says, I just ended up in the hospital because of this like anxiety.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
Kits posted the same day. He
like
retweets
24 hours
it, and
later.
He's in the hospital. He goes, me too.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you guys this past weekend, I had a panic attack. And I have not had a panic attack in a long time. A lot of things started piling up. And it was like, I just felt like I had so much to do. And and I'm wondering, the more people I talk to, like where is this coming from? My Discord, I kind of went on this rant over the weekend where I was like, listen, the mental health part of this is definitely being surfaced. But mental health is not an AI issue. It might be being instigated a bit by it, but like I still try to compartmentalize those because I think it's important to do that. But it is interesting that even just in the last week, I saw this bam, bam, bam trend, and then all of a sudden it hit me. And it's been years since I had a panic attack. So that was really interesting, man. I don't know. How are you feeling?
You know Pablo Stanley from Vercel?
Yeah.
I was hanging out with him yesterday. Was that yesterday? Yeah, we're doing an interview together. And we talked a lot of it on the podcast, but like we got real before and after too. Just talking about what it's like. And it's the promise of it was like, well, AI is going to eliminate the busy work. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it did for sure. But all I'm doing is just doing way more every single day. And the style of work, I think that's the part that really gets me, where it's like when I was just in a Figma canvas and life was simpler and peaceful and wonderful, and I'm obsessing over one problem at a time, and I'm going really deep on this thing for hours, maybe, so focused, purely creative, doing everything, feeling it, Now it's the opposite end of the spectrum, where I'm never doing one thing at a time because I'm allergic to loading states. You talked about having not having the your limits. You're not hitting your limits. You feel like you have the FOMO. For me, it's like if I'm looking at a loading state, I'm like, I'm not doing enough. I have to add another task. Like I'm only working efficiently if I have enough tasks where I never look at a loading state because I can always jump to something else. And so the level of context switching is exhausting. It's exhausting. And at the end of the day, I'm like, wow, I accomplished so much more than I could have possibly imagined 2 years ago. And I'm tired. Like, not physically tired, like in my bones tired, emotionally tired, spiritually tired. It's like, I think I'm on almost like a tighter, almost mini burnout cycles. I'm like, it makes me manic in some ways. I don't know. I don't think we talk about it nearly enough because I'm sure a lot of people are also feeling that.
It's something I'm releasing. I've taken a break from YouTube videos for about a month. We had back-to-back conferences, and then I just had a bunch of stuff with the team come up, and I'm going to talk about it in this video, and I'm going to touch on this anxiety. I'm going to touch on a lot of things that, a year of. I've been using AI and trying to do. It's one thing to just like try to will a business into existence. That by itself is enough to drive anybody off a cliff there. And then you add AI and all the things that come with that. It was funny. I can't remember who it was talking about the new Grok model is so fast that their feedback, their criticism of it is they don't get that ability to multitask between threads because they ask a question, they have an answer. And they're like, no, I want to move to another session and bounce back and have a thing waiting for me. And they're like, it's too responsive. And I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So Rid, your video seems a little blurred. Is that on purpose?
It's just how I look, man. It's
Yeah,
underwater. We're going for this. It's a branding exercise. We're figuring out the brand on the fly.
So, I wanted to, Pizza Boy, Dan, I think I'm a fan of, I saw something he did because it resonated, and this will be like the last thing we talk about, this sort of gal and AI tooling, because I want to get into some of the stuff we've been working on. But I thought this was a compelling thing that Dan kind of put together here. And I asked him if he'd just show us a quick thing.
Hey, Tommy, in front of us right here, we have two projects. The one on the right is still ongoing. The one on the left is just wrapped. Case studies on the website. Both of these projects, or both these concepts in front of you, were done by Fable 5. And both of them had the exact same context and information that I had when I started the real projects. And I'm sorry, but they're not thinking outside the box. They're not coming up with these incredible ideas. They're being very bland, on the nose, and the quality is subpar. Could you use it to riff on? Absolutely. Of course you could. Could you use these to end up then creating something great? Of course you could. But the main thing for me is both these projects in the real world, they finished so far away from where we started, purely due to the fact that as the project went on, we started to learn more about each other, more about the project, and it ultimately ended up evolving into something totally different. To now, especially the Brumby one, is so far away from any of these potential concepts, but now it's so defendable and ownable by the client. None of these would have sufficed, honestly. So that's where I am.
Ownable is a good word. That stands out to me. It's like if you're just pulling from an existing data set, you'll never really arrive at somewhere that is truly ownable, at least not without a good deal of, us, hopefully. Oh, did I lose your audio?
That's especially bad
There we go.
on the left, by the way. I feel like I've seen Fable do better than that, but that's.
I'm a little confused by it, actually, because I'm like, is it intentionally trying to be bad?
Is it a horse? What is
I
it?
get drastically different results if you just have Fable do something on its own versus using like Quiver API too. Where I look at that and I'm like, there's no way. There's just no way that it was that bad. There's no way.
Well, and so like let's dive into this because we've been working on some fun stuff and actually we want the opinion of you guys. We're going to show you. So Dive Club, right? Rid. How long have you had? How long?
3 years, man. The brand's even older because it started off as a school, which people don't even remember. The brand's Fonz made the original brand, and we wrapped that up. That might have been 4 years ago, actually.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, actually. You don't know the anniversary of Dive?
I do. It's somewhere in May. I have a reminder on my phone. I don't know what the date is, but then I'll get a reminder on that day, and then I just.
Oh man, now I feel like I need to. I'm bummed I didn't like. I guess I could look it up. That's cool though, and it's really interesting, and it's actually very cool to be clear for everyone. I'm hanging out with Rid. We're doing Dive Radio. That's kind of the extent of our collaboration on this, which is a lot of fun. But it's been really cool because you've invited me into giving feedback on this branding process, which is I love it, and I'm obviously staying up all night making fun things for it. But it's cool to see how you think and how you design and even creative direct. Obviously love working with Fonz on this. But it's like when you think about a rebrand for something, and then even about you're extending it into now a live show, and what else could it be? How do you decide we should refresh a logo mark or the composition of branding elements, or we should just outright like rethink it? What leads that decision for you?
I think I just try to imagine different announcements. Like I translate things into tweets really and think about how would I visually portray this thing that I want to communicate. So for me, it was like, okay, we have the podcast, which is Dive Club. We have this Dive Radio, Love Radio as like a name, as a concept. I'm also doing like Dive Talent, which I don't even have a real website up for, but I know I need something for that too. And even just the way that I use the word mark, I can't get it to look good, to like combine, to like throw radio or throw talent there. And as soon as I feel like I'm fighting against the brand a little bit, that's when I'm like, okay, I probably need an outside perspective here. Fonz has quickly become the go-to for me because it's like you have your core spaces and more painful designer than working within a brand system that you feel like you're just fighting, or you feel like you don't have a bunch of new strands to pull on, where it's like, I remember Mike Smith talked about this concept to me one time where he's like, man, a good brand feels like it just unravels in every direction, and I wasn't feeling that 4 years later as all of these new use cases emerged, which to me is like the flag where I'm like, okay, we need a little bit of a rethink here. I love the mark. I love the like actual icon, but the word mark was feeling a little bit tough to work with.
I love the D ribbon, and we're gonna show that. But I will say this, like where I have a lot of fun in this project is like completely just goofing off, right? And the thing I've been doing a lot lately we talk a lot about prompting, and we're going to get, by the way, very cool to see everybody talking in chat here. Probably in the next 15, 20 minutes, we're going to do some Q&As with chat, because I'd really like to talk to you guys. And I'm sorry we don't have the call in today, but we will next week. But for me, how often do you use images to communicate ideas to AI?
Oh, it's the majority of my prompts.
Yeah. How often do you mood board around that? Because it's one thing to say, I'm going to do some element selecting or take a screenshot of like the work you've done. It's kind of this, we're kind of converging and diverging, and let's look at the actual work we're creating together. But like up front,
not a lot.
Front load with mood boarding?
No, so I think this is why I was really enjoying the process. And honestly, like, I'll just give you kudos. I think mood boarding is a skill, and I think you're exceptional at it. Like, I was really impressed by what you were coming up with and combining. I just thought it was so impressive in a way that made me want to get better at it. And I think this process, it was the first time that I've started exploring different ways of mood boarding. I'm even a Cosmos user until the last 2 days. Cosmos is amazing. What have I been doing? How have I not been using that? It's
Cosmos
unbelievable.
Is so good. I send them an email once a month asking them to flip the profile and collections tab regularly. Because if you load it up here, you land on your profile and I say, guys, I never look at this. Why is this the first thing I see? I just want to see my collection. And they're like, yeah, we'll take it into consideration.
So it's part Cosmos for me, and part I hadn't been using GPT to generate full mood board images until this process.
Yeah.
That was really helpful for me. Really, it's like, show me 12 to 15 different images based off of this prompt, and it has a ton of context around what I'm trying to accomplish in terms of like a world building thing, and you can really quickly see, oh, what is that world? Sometimes I don't even have the language to understand what to iterate based off of it. So then I'll have it almost reverse engineer the world it created with some keywords. And I'm like, no, I don't, that's the one that's wrong. Let's tweak that one. And I feel like I was flexing that muscle in a real way over the last, literally 2 days for the first time. Really, really enjoyed it.
So some game. And by the way, Cosmos, Arena, Pinterest, love Arena for a number of reasons. I love how Arena started. I love the story of Arena. Pinterest is great. Pinterest is, I think, one of the best search engines for finding really wonky, weird things. But they don't have a dark mode, and they're becoming an enemy of mine because of it. Because I'm late at night getting flashbanged by Pinterest UI, and I'm just like, guys, can we please? Like, it's 2026. Give me an option. But Cosmos is the place I like to store this, and so I put together the Dive Radio. It was like, okay, what is this Dive Radio thing? And I don't think necessarily we had landed on a place where we were going to do this yet. It was getting close. I think it was pretty warm. I can't recall exactly. Or maybe I don't remember. But in one day I was like, you know what? I just want to make something fun. I was kind of agonizing over a few things. This was days leading up to the panic attack. And I decided that I was just going to build a weird thing. Image 2 from GPT, hands down, the best ideating partner, better than Midjourney, better than a lot of the image gen tools out there. For me, I love brainstorming visually with Image 2. And the way that I'll do this, and I've mentioned this before, I'll take breaks from AI once a week. I'm pretty good about it. I missed the last week. But what I like mood boarding is, like, when you really think about that yucky word that we never like to say out loud, taste. The thing that mood boarding really does is, like, you open up something, and you're going out and you're selecting these things that mean something to a vision that you have that you can't yet articulate. And some people might look at this mood board and they might say, like, you called it underwater glow, but like, some of these things don't necessarily belong in here. This might not be a great example because most of these do, except for the Blackwater photography. But to me, they do. But to me, they're connected. And I think, like, your ability to see the connection between things that maybe isn't obvious to others that's a really good thing to exercise a lot. And so what I like to do, and I'll even use AI to help me think about weird and off the wall combinations. And other times I'll just go find them myself. But it's like I want to, for the dive radio, it was like what's interesting, you know, like signals and old retro stuff. Retro, this is becoming kind of a tired aesthetic,
Yeah.
but I still haven't. I've got some retro left in me, you know. And so I was like, okay, what does it look like on this like radio concept? What are some of the stuff I love? This is very Lee Black, very Dieter Ram, stuff like that. But like, what could I combine this stuff with? And we'll get into the actual dive brand. I think this one I called Sub-Mechanical Sticker Bomb. It was funny. I said to you, I said, what if Dive Club was a mix of thalassophobia and submechanophobia? And you said, you made those words up.
Yeah, I didn't believe you.
And I was like, how do we you know, combine this idea of like sticker bombs on coolers with this idea of like rusty ship holes? You know, is there something in that? And
It sounds
and it's like-
ridiculous even just hearing you say it out loud.
it does. It does. And actually, I don't really love this idea. And one of the things that I'll say to you is certainly there are going to be mood boards that you fall in love with when you go out and find these things. You're like, I love that. I just want to continue to add things to that. But I would actually push you to try to create other mood boards that you might not really believe in, but with the whole purpose of that mood board is to be distinctly different with a very different direction, because it exercises a pretty strong muscle in thinking outside of the box. And you might accidentally stumble upon some stuff like, you know, I was like, what does wet sticker paper look like? You know, I don't know. You know, and so we found some other things in here, and I don't know that this is a very good mood board, but it was a good exercise to kind of put a lot of that together. And then I'll feed this into ChatGPT, Image 2, and I'll say, hey, I've got some ideas using, you know, our Signal Desk mood board here. And then I'll kind of like let it just run amok and come up with these very clearly AI smelling versions of like the next installment of moods. But also I was like, you know, but there are things in here that, one, I can be like, yep, that's what I don't want. Or two, actually, there's like a thing in that I can borrow inspiration from. I think we both saw this and we're like, oh, that's compelling, right? Like the light rays from water above. And I think we've adopted that into some of the language here, about the color scheming and some of this. But a lot of this was like, yeah, that's stuff we don't want. But then as it started to go, I started to see like, wait a second, what is like radio? You know, what do these old radios look like? That's interesting. I think this was the first one it made. And this smells like AI, right? Like AI has this tendency to add all kinds of over polish and over texturing and knobs and things. Like it just over explains every detail. But in doing so, it gave me some ideas. I'm like, wait a second, this idea of like this meter and the little ticker for the meter and some knobs,
Show the
you
other
know.
tab. Show the other tab.
Oh, I'm certainly not doing that, am I? Darn it.
No.
Sorry, you got to
We're
catch me
learning.
because I'm over here talking
learning.
about these. I'm talking about this stuff with these moods that I was generating with. Yeah,
That makes
geez,
way
we're
more
gonna-
sense.
Hey, day one.
We'll get it. We'll figure it out.
And so, you know, I'm creating all these variations here. And so this was what I was referring to. Rid and I saw this, and I think I shared this with you, and we thought that was compelling, and this has made it into the brand language that we're working with. And then outside of that, I saw this image, right? This is what I meant when I was saying that AI likes to over polish and really get into, you know, over explaining every detail. But there were some things that we could borrow and take away from here. And so I said, okay, cool. Those things that I want to borrow and take away, let's now try to describe those on a more minimal canvas. Like I want some of the really cool ideas there, but I want to see what that looks like a bit more. Let's tone it down a bit, right? So we were playing with these different like compositions and frames, and then it was like, wait a second, like now light it up. And so one of my favorite things about Image 2 is you can have it recreate. I think it does one of the best jobs of taking an image and you would say, hey, take this radio and now make the meter glow. And everything is damn near pixel by pixel, but it glows. And I'm like, that's kind of interesting because I can now do a mouse hover effect if I wanted to, or I could do some interesting stuff here. I could cut this out. And so suddenly what's really helpful to me is considering different states of images that can get generated, and then considering things that I can cut out. Because I came up in the one div days where people were making CSS divs, Pokeballs, and Chinese food takeout boxes in one div container using pseudo classes. And so when I see images that are stripped down to their bare shapes and geometry, my brain goes, I bet I could create that in CSS. Now, some of this you don't need to anymore because you can get to some performant SVGs and different images today. But it is an interesting exercise because what happens is we get over to, as we saw with our radio here. And suddenly, not only is this interactive, and I have a whole lot of fun adding. And one we intend can you hear the audio on this?
Yeah, I can. I love it so much.
You know? And
it is for these reasons.
Yeah, people are like, why did you make RID the volume? Lee, this was a huge inspiration from Lee Black, who likes to make a lot of these analog digital interfaces.
Among the most
and so that, you know, I saw this and I said, at first we just built the rectangle for this, and I was like, no, there's got to be more. This needs to be more interactive. I wanted to make this clickable. I didn't have time. But then it was like, let's add all kinds of things, and then I can make different states. It's like, let's break the glass, and so there's a little crack here, and then we click it again, crack gets deeper, and then oh man, now we're really messing it up, and now it's done for. And now we can add some, you know, things that make sense in the digital sphere. That's a lot of fun to me, you know. And so when people say,
how'd you do the sound? How'd you do the sound for all this? But I think that's like my favorite part. Like, there's so many different little sound effects. Are you just, is Claude just running with it? Like, talk to me about that part.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So let's go ahead and turn the sound off so we can talk about it. So I said I want something that resembles like big moments in radio or in audio. And it's tricky because I didn't want to use anything that was copyright. There's a number of things I'd love to pull in that I didn't. So it was like, okay, what is public domain? Well, a mother of all demos is one that's always stuck out. It's one that we actually use on the UX Tools website. I love these callbacks to old moments inside of interface design. But it was like, and then like Jobs talking, like, so there were a couple things that I thought of. And then it was like, but how about also these? And it would pull moments from history. It was pulling, you know, there's like, you know, just Morse code, War of the Worlds, like that's, I love that. But then you've got all these other, like Grace Hopper.
You know what a billion
it suggested this. I thought, oh, that's interesting. That's a pretty funny speech. And I think they recently declassified it. So yeah, part of that me, part of that AI. The quote that I like to use lately, people are like, you used AI to make this. And I said, AI made this with me, you know, like we really put the work in together to do this. What
about the sound of breaking the glass though? Like the way that it kind of, I can't remember what the word for that is, where you're like turning the knob to mess with the
haptic sort of kind of, it feels haptics, or it feels very tactile in a way.
Yeah.
Some of those sound effects were definitely recommended by Fable. The glass, I would have gone in that direction. It did it without me even asking it. I said, here are 5 images. That was, and I'll say this, if you tell Fable, and I don't know if this is true with 5.6 yet, but you tell Fable, like, hey, we're gonna do some audio stuff, it puts on its little like sound designer hat and it'll start going ham.
That's crazy, man.
And it's like, okay, that's kind of fun. There's some
I feel like the pendulum's about to swing way too far with audio, where everybody's going to realize how easy it is to add audio to digital products, and where everything's going to be talking and yelling and playing music to us, and then the pendulum will swing back to an interesting middle ground. It feels like we're in the very first inning of sound design with AI in digital experiences.
Yeah, and then you always love to throw some stuff. I'm a big Cypher and ARG fan, and one day it's my dream to hold a proper ARG sort of Cypher puzzle for this community. We'll get to it. But yeah, man, some good stuff, some fun times. I'll have to walk the group through how I made the intro video, which will continue to grow and get better. And that's the first time I've ever used AI video tools, and it's fun.
So good. I'm just gonna give more context for people that are watching, because Tommy just goes rogue, man. He just goes rogue, like he'll be like, you'll get a text and it'll just say, give me 2 hours. You're like, You're like, what the hell is he about to go do? And then he comes back and it's like this whole video. I'll tell you the story from last night. All of this is happening in the last 24 hours. And I'm reading a book to my 2.5-year-old before bed. And for the first time in like 6 months, we reach for the book that is like underwater. It's ocean. She wanted to read it. I hate this book. I think it's a terrible book. I never read it. First time in 6 months, we read it last night in the middle of mood boarding all of this ocean stuff. And I'm looking at it and it dawns on me. I'm like, oh, the real version of this stream, once we really lean in and figure all the things out, would be like, what if it starts above water and then we progressively go deeper and deeper and deeper and then have community call-ins, and it's like the phone on the ocean floor and we're working from the surface to the floor throughout and I love that idea, like the concept. So I just voice texted it really quick to Tommy, and I just go do my thing, and I'm sitting in the TJ Maxx parking lot like we were talking about earlier, and then I get a video 2 hours later, and he just made it. He just freaking made it. Like that intro video Tommy made last night after I sent him a text reading my kid a book. It's cool, man. It's pretty cool. Like, it's impressive stuff that you're able to just make it happen. You just will it into existence.
And it's fun. It's just really fun these days. Like I think there was a time in the past where if you were collaborating with people, you wanted like an engineer, a designer, you wanted these kind of separate but complementary skill sets. I'm having a blast the most lately working with other designers. Like people who we can just have, because you sent me that picture of the book, and I think actually the first thing I said to you, I said, what if we go and host community ocean cleanups? And
I didn't even see that text.
I can tell you. Well, that's funny that you say you didn't see it, because you didn't respond to it, and I said, okay, that must have been like way off.
I was doing story time. I was literally just like, take this idea and run with it, and then I didn't look at any of your responses.
I get so inspired working with other people who see things and collect things that they see, and it's the most fun of this whole thing. I want you to share with some of the time left, and then we'll do some Q&A.
I was about to say
this Fonz work.
Okay, this is gonna be hectic. It's gonna be hectic. But
so much goes down waiting in the TJ Maxx parking lot.
If you only knew how much time I've spent in the TJ Maxx parking lot in the last year. Oh my God. Okay, so first off, we just have to get the scale of this. We're talking days, right? Like this is literally in like 3 days. And this is one page.
Since Monday. We had a kickoff call with Fonz on Monday.
Yeah, Monday afternoon.
And we said, Fonz, we need to have some things live by Thursday.
I mean, so I just wanted to start there. So I'll actually, Tommy alluded to this earlier. Like we had the brief. This was your idea. He's trying to give me credit because he's too nice, but he's like, you should break it up. And so this is actually what I fed Fonz originally, and I sent him a Loom video just walking through and doing like dislikes and this is exactly like I'm generating this with GPT, and this was one of the outputs. I'm like, whoa, Miami Vice. Okay, cool. I now know that I do not want this light color because it feels too Miami Vice, and we're just going through this radio, and I was like, oh, I think this is, I found this from your thing. I'm like, oh, that's so interesting. Like the light that is emitted from these old school radios, and then the impact that it could have like on caustic effects in water, whatever. We're just throwing insane stuff with Fonz. And so Fonz kicks it off. He shows up on Monday with this, already. I was like, dang, I can't believe
hours.
Just
like hours, just a handful of hours.
Yeah, literal hours. And he's playing with right away. I'm like, okay, I love this. Walking us through different directions and whatever. And so then he starts creating, and this is so after the first day, I think we're like down here. It's really hard to navigate. But he's making just wide spectrum of all kinds of different like patterns and effects and different ways to lay things out. And we're working through some of the core screens and color palettes. And I think this was the moment where we're like, okay, everything that he is making, where are those? I wanted to find, there's just so many different, I don't even know where to pick. There's so many different ones, but like everything he's making is so good. It's so good, But we kind of had this moment of like, what would it look like to turn the weird dial up to 10 and then work backward?
Yeah.
It's like that idea from Steve from Tailwind. And he had the idea of like, if you want to add more white space, don't just incrementally add white space, add too much white space, get to the point where you know that it's too much and then reduce from there. And you'll end up in a more interesting spot than if you incrementally add. I think about that a lot. I was kind of thinking about it when talking with Fonz. I'm like, what would it look like to basically do the equivalent of that for like going all in on how weird this can be? And man, I got to tip my cap to the guy. He started getting real weird, man.
New set in the works.
Oh my gosh, man. This was the thing I was tweeting about earlier. Just a hilarious brand prompt. I mean, just what is this? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it makes me happy. And so he's just exploring like crazy. And again, props to Fonz. It felt like every like 8 hours he's looping us in and we're just weighing in. Like his feedback loops were so tight in a way that I really appreciated. And eventually we got to this place. Nah, I'm not going to be able to navigate this well. Oh man, look at all these patterns too. I don't even know if we know how to use these yet.
Mm-hmm.
But it's beautiful, right? It's so beautiful. So we then, I don't know where this checkpoint is. At some point there's a checkpoint where you realize like, all right, things kind of look a little bit rusty and weird. So how can we bring in more color and just the amount, even just framing the videos, like right now we don't have frames. This is very much MVP of this stream. Like, what is the right way to like package?
I haven't seen all of this actually, because I was quite busy with the other thing, and so I haven't actually had a chance to like look through all this. This is sick.
It's amazing, man. I was just going through it. Like, it's so good. It's so good. So much in here. So then he kind of
brought down the chunk. Sorry, yeah, I'll refrain from feedback.
No. I mean, here, let's. So he basically at one point
we actually have some things from the audience we want to get some feedback on too, right?
Yeah, we do. I do. I actually want to show that. I'll give a little bit of context real quick. Like this was a bigger checkpoint from Fonz where it's like we threw the craziest wrench ever at him, and we're just like, hey, how weird can you make this? And then he's like, okay, let's put down the 3 directions kind of thing. And we got into like sonar world. And then I think like closer to where we are now, except kind of like a little dirtier maybe. And then this, I don't know what this world is, but I do like it a lot. So he's riffing, he's going crazy. I did want to, I don't know. Do you know how to do the polls in here? We'll just have people just reply. So
we'll
I have some side-by-sides. Yeah, I have some side-by-sides. These are a few of the design decisions that are still kind of open right now. And the first one is we want to lean into this idea of really branded segments and having like the pace of the show be carried by, very different feeling segments and thinking about, okay, what is the right way to build a system that like is extensible and allows us to
go in a lot of different directions. Ritt will be back with us in a moment. But I do want to show you something that I found. Oh, there we go.
It just says tab crashed. That's how you know the Figma file is insane, is when Restream's just like, nah, we're done. We're done doing that. So this is the first thing that we're thinking about. It's like, how do we brand these segments? One of them might be a rant, one of them might be news desk, one of them might be like community showcases. Curious, what left or right? We have like stickers on the left, and then on the right is more of this like paper cutout idea.
Can you zoom in? Can you zoom in on each one? Like, let's get some closer fidelity for the
sure.
Like
That's me, man. I'm the folk with bad eye. What the heck? It sucks. So this is our sticker concept. I love this little Claude guy here. It's good stuff, right? Like it's energetic.
72 hours Fonz, by the way.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I can't. This is a big Fonz promo. He's incredible. And then this guy over here.
Yeah, this is my favorite.
We got one right. Oh, we got a left. Okay. That's not helpful.
All right.
It's not helpful.
Yeah. So
it's supposed to be our
what do you
free
think?
UX
I mean,
research session.
Help us consider feel free to left right this or A B it, however you want to do it, and feel free to put in justification, because my argument is I like that the dive club is getting a little bit grittier, more realism to it. I think that's how I might describe it, and I think the right side plays well into that while still looking cool.
There's an energy about the left that I like, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I do kind of lean the right. And what's interesting is we saw the left first, and I loved the left. I was like, this is really cool, really cool. But then I saw the right
on the paper
in that
underwater. Yeah.
And I think that the two metaphors that you brought up that I thought were interesting connections. One's like sticky notes. Can this be our own spin on more retro sticky notes? And then the second one was in a news desk. You're just like tearing a piece of paper real quickly and writing a note from like a logistics standpoint. It kind of felt like that.
And I think they'll just play really well on the textures and the patterns. Like, even if we don't go ship hole, which I don't think that's the direction we're necessarily going, but like, I just feel like it could do a lot of interesting stuff there. I think those are cool. But I'm paper underwater. That's my thought. By the way, someone else said something. Cool. I meant to call it out while you were talking. I didn't want to interrupt you. Someone said the pod in a fishbowl, and it made me go, oh, there's a lot I want to do with that idea. Thank you for that.
It goes back to what I was talking about with Mike Smith earlier. It feels like right now the brand is unraveling. Like, you could go in so many different directions, and there's so much down every single path. Some of those paths are probably way too weird, but man, it's fun. Like, what a enjoyable moment in time as a designer to be inheriting a world that feels like you can just run in any direction with.
Yeah, and I want to. Can I hijack? Are you showing some stuff?
I was going to show a few more voting, but if it's topical.
Go more.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, so here's another one. Here's another one that we're thinking about. It's like the idea of our iconography and even showing different like company logos as being part of the world, right?
Dude. And
so
you're
is it
using the sea textures.
Right? So it's like, does it feel like the old, piece of metal and it's been sitting on the bottom of the ocean floor for a long time? Or does it feel more like the coral? Yeah.
I don't think these are
We'll find out what that legality is pretty soon, I'm sure.
This is
what are you haven't even seen this kind of stuff, I don't think, because this is like super new. He just put this in a few hours ago.
Talking about it, but I was in the middle of the video stuff, and this is because that was the thing.
It's freaking cool, right? It's so good.
The mood boards we put together were like the Blackwater photography and the neon, kind of, how Flora Fauna kind of does like the botanical neon in black, and I think sometimes they'll have like a jellyfish or so. But I love that. But what's more interesting that I haven't seen people do a lot of is like there are so many patterns and textures inside of a starfish or these different things.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to connect that to in a digital way. And this is freaking brilliant.
It's so good, man. So the story, I won't even try to find it because I won't be able to find it in the mess of the exploration tab. But Fonz just shared the Claude logo, but it looked too much. It looked too real. It looked like a piece of coral. So I was like, it just looks like an aquarium. But now once I saw it a few different ways, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so incredibly genius to use coral as iconography. I love it. I'm completely obsessed with the one on the right, personally. I think it brings the energy. I also looked at a picture of a starfish for like 12 minutes last night, though. Because I think if you zoom in, like, dude, that's amazing, right? Yeah. That's amazing. It's so pretty. So pretty. Nature's amazing. So, okay, that's one. Here's another one. This is more of like a generic like cover photo, more composition style. Which composition speaks to people? You have like the more subdued. A big question of mine is like, do we bring in physical objects in the water? Like, I like that juxtaposition of something like a radio underwater. Is it too on the nose? I don't know, man. I don't know. We haven't even talked about this for context for everybody. This is all so new that I haven't even digested this with Tommy yet, so you
Yeah,
are
this is-
really
I'm-
being
this is
brought
the first
into
time I'm
the
seeing
moment.
A lot of this. I opened the file because we needed a thumbnail for the YouTube as this was going live, and we did that in 2 minutes. I opened the file. I grabbed the radio one with the radio because I felt like that was ready, and I just uploaded that. So that is now the thumbnail for today's episode, unless you change it.
It's good.
But that's the first I've seen of this.
Yeah, I mean, I just saw this a few hours ago.
I love.
I'm gonna let you go first.
I love the water theme, dude, and so like the metaphor. Going back to the metaphor, so that the early conversation we had, and I love metaphors. It's why I think mood boards are the best for a lot of this type of thing. Was dive. You've gone into the depth of a topic. Like deep dive. We're learning. We're going deeper and deeper. It's water. It's the emoji of the scuba diver. And at first, I think I said, maybe you've kind of done that, and maybe it's time. And even I think Fonz says, maybe don't be too on the nose on this. And then I said, but there's other ways to explore that metaphor, like spelunking or space, going deep. Like there's all these different ways that could say the same thing, and maybe you just bring this catalog out. And then as I started mood boarding around this, I was like, oh no, dude, I think like you go deep into this, and I think you came to the same conclusion at the same time, and went back to Fonz and were like, hey Fonz, I know we said we didn't want to be on the nose, but actually we want to like smack the bottom of the ocean with our nose.
Yeah, it literally doesn't get more on the nose. It feels good. It's so fun though.
But the metaphor that I like though is like, think about the time now. We're talking about anxiety, and we're talking about like not sure where to go. And I go back to that quote, the guts to be curious. It is a scary time to be curious. We're wide open, showing with no shame full AI creations in some of the work, but there's a lot of human stuff in this, and we don't care. But there are people who would look at what we're talking about, and we would get absolutely scrutinized for this.
Yeah.
And I think what we want is to inspire people to ignore that and to have the guts to keep going deeper, even if deeper is scary and it's full of, you don't know. It's full of black water photography creatures. But then suddenly those creatures are really damn beautiful. And so I love the beautiful coral and the sand down here. I love that kind of area. But I like nodding to the eerie, to the it just goes deep and dark and deep and dark, and then there's just one beautiful creature suddenly. Like things like that.
And that's why I like your intro music for what it's worth. Like, I think you kind of, that was not an obvious move to go kind of eerie with it, but it is like, there's something there. You right? Like it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. I mean, gosh, you mentioned a panic attack 40 minutes ago, it's like there's an eeriness that I think embraces the fact that we all feel a little bit uncomfortable right now. And it's not this like this Finding Nemo oasis.
Yeah.
I think I have one more. Do I have one more?
Let's see it.
Oh no, it's basically that. I should have just been showing this while we were talking about it. I think it's just like, it's such a small detail, but I think it's almost everything. What is the ocean floor? What are we submerging down to? I think we've spent a long time going back and forth on what this is. And I don't know.
I like, yeah, there's a lot here. One of the first versions, I don't think you showed this. Am I live here?
Yeah, you are.
I don't think you showed this one, which was we had kind of this grimy deep sea. We had old devices that had the algae, and they looked like shipwreck, like they'd been living down there for years. And you had said it's like if you rubbed your thumb on it, you want to wash your hands. And
yeah, so like it wasn't quite this. This was a little bit more extreme, but yeah, it was like it felt like I didn't want my feet to touch the bottom. I felt myself curling my toes. It's a little bit this. There was even more. I think there was more extreme versions of this. Like like this is like if you get your toes on it, you'd be like, oh god, it touched me. I didn't like that.
What was that?
But it's hard. You brought up the point too. It's like it's really hard to go full retro without leaning into the fact that this is old. And then it's like, if it's old, therefore it kind of has to look like this. It has to look like it's been at the bottom of the ocean. I don't know. So I agree. I think this is way too grimy. Tommy, here's a question for you in the chat. What is the purpose that these images serve again?
Which images specifically? Like the one we're looking at?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Let me just answer the question. Actually, I'm gonna answer the question by tossing back to an interview that I just released with Jason Yuan. He was talking about Hivemind. Dude made thousands of images about what the world, what is the world that I'm building? And he built that entire thing before having a single use case or a mark or anything. Yeah. I kind of feel like we're doing that a little bit. It's like we kind of have to understand, like, what is the world that we want to theoretically live on or live in weekly, indefinitely? Who knows? I don't think it's this, but who knows?
This is and here's my take, and it's on the back of that. Mixed media is the coolest, like hands down. The people, like I grew up following, but like really loving when I would see somebody mix different types of media, digital, like they were doing Flash or they were bringing in paper. It's why like Burnaby on our team, he does like paper stop motion, and we try to bring that in. I think mixed media is the coolest. It is not cheap to make. It is hard. It requires skill sets. And today, it has never been easier to combine all of these different. I made the Dive Radio website in 8 hours, 6 hours while playing friend slop games with my kids. I was here looking at the screen. I was here over here talking Super Whisper. I'm not kidding.
Dang.
I made the intro, which regrettably the timer kind of hid some of the details. I'll post it on Twitter after this. I made it last night, one day. These are things that I never would have been able to do in the past, but I have the vision for it. I have so many stories that I want to bring to life. Why can't interfaces have some hints of a story, a LaCroix of Lime? Why can't we bring that into this? That's why, because we have all the dashboards and we have the floor of good UI patterns and visual branding, and we have the Tinders that could be the dock, that could fit any other app. If we can, why can't we bring some sort of joy and personality and intrigue to the work we have now? Because we can. One person can do this. So it's like, let's at least explore it. And the last thing I'll say too is I learned this from Soren Iverson when I went and hung out with him. I love this idea that he uses with absurdity. Start by creating something you know is going to be just absolutely absurd. I brought Cthulhu's eyeball into the intro for the video this morning. What are we doing? Like I told Rid, I said, I want people to look at this and go, what the heck did I just watch?
Yeah, you did. You did.
And that in Slack. Is that going to be the intro that sticks around? We're certainly going to change things, and we'll see how it goes. But sometimes when you create something super absurd and then you invert it, you find the idea worth digging into. And that's something that I'm having a lot of fun with.
I still haven't even seen all these. I haven't even gotten to this part of the inspiration before. Like this is actually this is kind of cool, where it feels like you're like peeping out. Cool. I haven't even seen this yet.
Even the way he puts some of this together challenges me. Like there's certain masking and layered objects that I really want to try and tackle. It's not easy for a number of reasons in the videos that we're doing, but this is incredible.
Dude, I think this is sick, man. I'm so happy with
like
this is cool. That. I've never seen anything like this before. Are you kidding me? This is the first time I'm seeing this. I feel like I've been wandering around this file and I'm still finding stuff.
I say we rock with, this is so good. Like, I have so many ideas, and we'll get into it with the team here. It is the goal to show you all how we're working, but we also want to show you how you're working. We want to be the place where it's like we can talk a little drama, but we can also, in priority, just show how people are doing interesting stuff today. So I want more of that. I love seeing how everybody works. It's really cool. We've gone well over time that we intended, but I did want to take some questions. You got some time, Rid?
Yeah, let's do it.
If you guys got some questions for us, let's pop it in chat. Moving forward, we will have a call-in line. I've already got the phone number. In fact, what is it?
We were like 80% there. It's cool. We tested it out. You call it, and it's like, thanks for calling Dive Radio Show. It's cool. It's gonna be fun.
So we'll get there, but I want to see, and if it's specifically for RID or specifically for myself, feel free to call that out, or for both. The boards we were looking at is the work in progress brand extension refresh of the Dive brand and the things we're working on. We can spotlight these comments too. So let's see this.
There was one in here about design system stuff and using like when to own that in Figma or paper versus owning that in code. And I think I want to talk about that for a second, because every once in a while I download the Reddit design, the Reddit app, and I go onto UX design, and I just kind of like
every once in a while you download it. Like, do you download
Yeah,
it
I just download it for like 3 days and uninstall it because I spend time on it. I'm always downloading and uninstalling.
That's so helpful,
I don't have any
dude.
social apps installed on my phone. I don't even have Twitter installed on my phone. I force myself to use the mobile site.
That's why we're having panic attacks and you're chilling reading C-books.
Yeah, chilling is a strong word. But I will say, like, I think the thing that I'm really leaning into and discovering is like, you can just build any type of design system overview experience that you want for yourself. Any type of like, it used to be like, are you using Storybook or no? And then you have Storybook's UI and Storybook's prescriptive way of inspecting stuff. You can literally build anything, any way that you want to group, slice, view components, colors, shadows. You can build it and view it 100 different ways with Claude really, really quickly. Build your own editing tools so you can tweak stuff. Like, the idea that, because I think it's just like almost turning into a rant, but I saw somebody in a comment on the UX design subreddit, and they're like, well, but it's so much easier to manage the design system in Figma. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, it's so unbelievably easy to do it in code, and you can do it in any way that works for you. Whatever is the best possible way for you to do it in code, you can do it.
And
Sorry, that was now a rant.
And who's looking at the design system in Figma, by the way?
Yeah.
You know, like the drift that occurred. I have so many thoughts about that too. But Samaraj, what's up, dude?
There's one on vector generation models. Andy, I guess I can spot. How does this work? Does that show it up? Nice.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Look at me. I'm learning, man. I'm learning how to do this. I wonder if you have an opinion here, Tommy. I've been talking a lot. Like,
You guys have an
opinion on
vector illustration in the AI era. How do image generation models affect the need for vector at all? Do you have any workflows for going from generated art to vector? Turn this into a vector image. And then I see, and honestly, I've tried to do this quite a bit recently. I was trying to turn, I think for detach, we had I wanted to try to like vectorize a few print things that we had done. And I was not having a whole lot of luck. It's a good question, actually, because I would like to know an answer around this too. It's an area I find myself starting to mess with a little bit more.
Yeah. Vectorizing, I've had success in simple compositions or images. Like, then it's pretty good. You know, it's pretty good.
Try Quiver AI, someone says.
Yeah, Quiver is, I mean, gosh, it's like one of those tools that I go out of my way to recommend all the time. Like, if you're not using Quiver, at least to experiment a little bit, I think you are kind of missing out, because it's pretty powerful to be able to just,
I've never touched Quiver.
Dude, it's crazy, man. Like, all the time I'll be like, I need an icon for this, and I've like all the iconography, like I want to match the vibe of what I've got. Give me 8 different ideas for how to represent this concept. And then I go do my other thing, and I don't look at the loading spinner. And then I come back and I have a nice little grid in paper that has 8 different icons with like a little blurb about why for each one. I'm like, okay, that one's interesting. Let's make it a little bit more like, let's do 4 more, but make it more rounded. I don't know. It's really good for ideating on vector. It's also really good for taking an icon that you like and then just saying, hey, make this match the rest of my icon vibe. Like, I don't like, all the time for me, I'll get an icon. I use Phosphor, I like a lot, but like the phosphor icon, I just don't like that much, you know? And so I will, maybe I'll regret saying this, but like something that I've done is like, I've taken SVGs from actual products that we know and love, put them on the canvas, then put my phosphor icon on the canvas, or maybe one of the concepts that Quiver generated that I like. And then I'm like, okay, now refine this icon based off of the combination of the way that these two products do it. I want the middle ground between these two SVGs created for me, and then match the way that my icons work in code. Dude, it crushes. It crushes. I've been so impressed by the quality of output with that type of workflow.
Interesting. Yeah, there's so many ways to create that I can't wait to explore with you on this show. We have some fun segments coming up, guys. Rid and I definitely are going to bump heads on a few hot topics. We got a whole kind of debate thing. We didn't even get to our one up, man. Why don't we
didn't.
Actually, there is a one up I do want you to show, and I'll show you one, and then we'll probably wrap.
Okay, cool. Let's do it. So one of the outputs,
and then I'll answer your question, Angelique, as well. That's a good question.
One of the outputs of Tommy's Radio was Resham on Twitter made an interactive TV. Let me make sure that hold on. I'm gonna make sure that I'm doing the audio. Yeah, it's gonna get it. Okay, cool. So look at this. You have like a full little remote here. You can turn on the television, and it has all of the sound effects. It's like the same type of concept. You can use. I started off using the spinner, which is super fun, and she has all the sound effects, very similar volume knobs. But then all of these work too. So like she built like the last button. Remember, like I used to use the last button was two channels lined up. You know, you can mute, you can flip through, and I think this is so cool, man. I think it's so cool. Even like the click effect, and this is the kind of thing that felt really good to do just now. This is the kind of who you are at this moment in time, right? Like you talked about the guts to be curious at the beginning. I think this is that. Who wakes up and is like, you know what? I'm going to try to build a television today. If you are that person, that's a desirable trait. And I'm not just saying that on a whim, because I literally do this hiring network where I see all of the inputs from hiring managers and what they're looking for and what the green flags are. And you might look at this and you're like, well, that's not a case study. That doesn't show anything about the ability to like product think or everything. You know, people don't care. This is dope. And it's being it's starting to be celebrated. And I think part of what we want to do on this show is create a space to continually celebrate when the community goes out and does something awesome like this. So shout out, Resham.
And so, and to that point, if you are creating something, whether it's for fun, whether it's just as like a funny inside joke for us, or it's something real that you think is awesome, let us know. Today's our pilot. We're kind of getting through segments and being a little rusty, but the intent here is we want to do a one-up weekly where each week Rid and I bring a couple things to the table that neither of us know about, and we try to one-up each other to see who found the most compelling thing. And I thought this was a really cool kind of community tribute here, so super cool. But yeah. I got something that I'll show for you, and then I want to answer a question, and we'll probably wrap.
All right, let's do it.
Mixed media, I'm loving it. Video, motion graphics. How can I bring something like my team member Burnaby's stop motion into a web interface? Lee, I think I talked to you about this earlier this year, sometime last year. We wanted to do a survey, and how do we bring stop motion in, but in a way that's interactive? And I just wasn't sure how to do it. I thought we could probably create something custom, but what I thought was interesting was what I just found recently. And we'll look at it right here, which is called Eval. I have not tested this yet, but to be very clear, what we're seeing is frames of a video that parts of it or elements of it only play when certain interactions are met. Now, this is supposed to be really performant, and I haven't done this pipeline before. I imagine there's a lot of nuances, which I think Eval is trying to solve for. But this is compelling. Right now, we're over here having all these playground fun, and you could certainly probably have some playground fun implementing this. but you could take this a step further and really get interesting. And so I even think about the intro sequence we have. That's just all video and it's here on our live stream. But, you know, like that could get really interesting in some other context. So I'm going to try this out. Look at this. This is cool.
We should for sure try this and report back, because this is kind of perfect for what we're doing. Like if there was ever going to be a brand that would work for it, this is it.
Alex has been just dropping some really interesting things lately.
Yeah.
You know, I really dig like even this like sticker creation, you know, it's like the utility on some of this, you're like, I don't know, maybe I could see some ways, but I saw this and I saw some serious utility. So very cool. Good work. We want to see more like it. I'll answer one more question here, which was Angelique asking, how are you guys managing your time? Any scratch pads or apps you are using to capture your thoughts? I've got an answer.
Please.
Well, am I managing my time? So it's like, it sounded like you're saying like, how am I organizing what's going on in my life and versus like, how am I managing my time? Well, I don't manage my time extremely well. I just go with the thing that's calling me and then I deal with the consequences afterwards, and I don't recommend it. But I'm a psychopath and I just work when I have a thing that I'm interested in, I just go hard on it. But there is like a managing of knowledge and a managing of things. And so I'm at least keenly aware of the things that aren't getting my attention. And the reason I am is because my surface area is Slack and it's my OpenClaw agent. And I have a whole dashboard where I just feed. My OpenClaw agent it's almost passively aware of everything going on. And it builds everything. It's like, hey, I know you just shipped that Dive radio, but you need to get this ad out over here. And I've had it yell at me before. So that's kind of how I manage my time, is I keep one surface area where everything is input either manually or passively. And then I have a board that essentially tells me. And I do use Notion. I do use Obsidian for things. But I've moved away from task management from those tools.
Sounds like the system I need, to be honest, because my answer stops at I just follow whatever is energizing. Yeah,
it sounds like something a board person builds. Let's be clear. I don't know if it's a system anyone needs.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
You know,
I think this is kind of the trap of working for yourself too, where it's like you can be much more fluid in ways that I do think are a superpower. Like I'm very much so like you, where it's if I have a strand that I'm excited to pull on, dude, I'll pull on that strand, man. I have no issues staying up till 3 a.m. randomly, because like my wife would be like, when are you going to sleep? And I want to be, disclaimer, this is not too frequent, you know, I'm a family man, but if I got something and she's like, when are you going to sleep? It's like, I'm going to sleep when I'm too tired. And I'm like, you know, this is not, and if you're excited about something, dude, I'll just go all the time. 8 to 3 a.m, I just blitz on a concept and I just make a prototype for 7 straight hours because it's so fun and I can't stop all the time. And is that the most efficient? I don't know. Pros and cons.
Yeah. You just have to weather the occasional panic attack. No biggie. You know.
Is there an emotional instability that comes with the way that we work? Maybe. Should any of this be taken as advice? No, probably not.
I joking aside, I genuinely, like I said, I have a video coming out where I'm going to address this very seriously. I do not recommend. I make fun of morbid things because that's how I cope. But, you know, you have to find your time. You have to manage your things. And occasionally I have a good month of like, man, I really was a big boy. And then like another month, I'm like, oh, I went and built a whole bunch of stuff that, you know, was questionable. So, yeah. Guys, thank you for joining us on our rough start. I promise pretty much most of the same next week with 1 or 2% better. That's how we do. And we really appreciate you coming and hanging out with us. And we hope you'll do it again next week. We started an hour late this week. We'll start an hour earlier next week, God willing.
Yeah. For real this time.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I'm glad we did it today. It was debatable. You know, it was debatable.
It was getting
but we
tempting
wanted
to say, oh, we could kick the can one more week. It was getting tempting.
Make it more polished.
Yeah.
This was good, man. I'm glad. It was like, this was the behind the scenes. Like we are down to the hour working on this, and we wanted to invite you in. So I hope it was enjoyable. Will it be slightly more polished and hopefully slightly more productized in the future? Yeah, for sure. We'll figure it out. But It'll be a fun
Well, I'm
ride.
going to go share this video on Twitter if you guys want to see this weird thing I made with Kling AI. Definitely still has some, some elbow grease that could go into it. But I'll say this too. I am on the lookout for Easter eggs. I'm going to be updating this thing every week. And if we get some funny things from you guys, maybe there's no reason something doesn't end up in that intro. So, yeah.
Beautiful.
All right. Well, we'll catch you next week, guys. Thanks for joining.